All right, it's Monday morning. I'm going to work on getting this engine in. A few other items on the list to look at. I think it was wear bars and fuel tank pickups, small stuff. But yeah, I'm going to get the engine on the bench and start putting stuff on it. All right, got a new fan belt for the bench here. Just verifying my marks on my stator there with what I had in a picture before I took it apart. I'm probably going to stick those silicone and seal there in the corner. Put a little slice in it to take it out earlier or a while back when I was doing the engine rebuild. So I'm going to throw the flywheel on. It's like 65 to 85 foot-pounds or 80 foot-pounds. We'll get that on and then start on the fan apparatus. All right, I cleaned that nut up and the threads too. Use a little blue Loctite. I ended up tightening it to 75 foot-pounds. And yeah, through the old, used this a few times. It's got a few battle wounds on her. The old broomstick there. Yeah. Sure. All is good. A little bit of wood dust at the most in there. It could wipe out real quick. Off the top of the piston there, but yeah, it ain't gonna hurt nothing. All right, I'm gonna throw the engine plate on, or the fan shroud. We'll see here. All right, looks like there's a slight difference between the engine plates for the 440 fan and the 500 free air. I want to go use the 500 free air plate, and the mounting holes are a little narrower. Didn't find anything online for torque wise. They're the same size bolts as this Suzuki jet ski engine. Put some Loctite on them. I'm going to torque it to 40 foot-pounds. Then I'll get it set in there and mark the hole for re-drilling the cross plate, that long beam for the engine, bolt up to the engine plate. Yeah, I mentioned wear bars being on the list earlier. I tipped this thing over real quick. It actually seemed fine to me. I might have mistaken it for a different sled, but as you can see, there's still some carbide on them. None of the mounts are broke. So yeah, I'll push this thing back over and I'll leave those alone. Let's get back to the engine. All right, I got my hole marked. I'm just going to pop this angle back off, throw it in the vise, and drill it. All right, this 440 is set up for E-start, I should say. Here's the starter. It would mount right up in here. Obviously, with this engine bar, I could trim it or cut it down. But being the sled's not set up for it, you know, it'd sit down in there. I may decide later to cut that out. Have that in there. I don't know yet. Sleep on that. It's a 440. They pull over pretty easy. But anyhow, yeah. That cross brace would be different, obviously, for the one with the electric start. Could always modify. Maybe later. All right, we got the fan pulley on and the coupler for the recoil there. Gonna get the fan on, the housing and all that bolted up here. All right, changing out the belt, and come to find out they sent me a belt that's too long, so I'm gonna stick the original one on. Maybe they can do an exchange or something. We'll see. It's the part it called for, but it's yeah, it's too long. Slides right on. Without even having to take the pulley apart. Anyhow, the upper pulley comes apart. It's keyed. So you can see there. to put the belt on. So yeah, I'm gonna put the old belt on and run it for now, see what they can do for an exchange. All right, got the old belt on, do a little Loctite on that nut. Gonna throw the cover on and start working on getting this shroud on. I might do the Y pipe first. Yeah, see how the Y pipe and shroud come together. It's a while ago when I took all this apart. All right, must have brain farted on this one. I took out, we're running this Y adapter. I'm just running one single carb. And gotta find some stud or the nuts. For the exhaust stud. I got some off the one free air cylinder I had here. I'm gonna go look in the basement for the other cylinder that's junk. Hopefully the nuts are on there, or I'll be ordering some more. But yeah, I was just starting to piece this together, and I was thinking I was gonna run dual carbs, so I looked at that and I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely committed to that Y pipe with that intake setup. So yeah, it'll be single carb. It's gonna run one of the free air carbs, and if I have to tweak a little jetting, we'll see once it's up and running. All right, it's Tuesday morning, out here going through some jets. Let's see what I got on hand. Looks like I got some 330s, some 350s, probably for my ZRT. I also was looking at these needles, get some numbers off those. These carbs are 34s. The other carbs, they're off the 500 free air or 32s. Just thinking maybe playing the needle jet game, but I'm thinking leaning more towards ordering just a single carb off eBay. It's got like a 300 main in it, and whatever appropriate needle. I can't remember off the IPC exactly what it calls for this, but yeah, I was looking up part number for that sticker to get an idea exactly what year this engine came out of. I'm thinking an 88 or something like that, 89. But yeah, I also noticed in the parts catalog that it looks like this is inverted on some sleds, and I might be able to do that if I did want to squeeze that starter in there. Don't know why I didn't think of that originally, but I'm going to test run, fit it, and see how it fits in there. It might fit in there upside down, and I could mount that starter bracket on there. But yeah, right now just kind of buttoning stuff up. Found some hardware down in the basement off a cylinder head to mount that up. Looks like the gasket goes on each side of the shroud, and same for the intake. So I'll be running the free air intake, obviously, or not the free air, sorry, the fan cooled, the single carb, and I'll probably delete one that air box, I'm guessing, because that won't work out like that. I'll probably do a pod filter. Well, that's where I'm at. Just gonna do some dry run, dry fitting the stuff in there, and I don't know if I'm gonna use any adhesive on the gaskets. I guess I could. I know these turn into a mouse house, these shrouds. Yeah, I probably will. It's probably better off to use a little bit of adhesive to fill up the voids. But that's where I'm at, kind of getting the shrouds assembled, with the intake and exhaust, with the Y pipe on, the intake Y pipe, exhaust one, get those glued on, and start dry running this, do a little research on probably go with the cheap eBay carburetor or something that's close to what the jetting is supposed to be on the 440 here. So when I look online, it's either a 260 or a 300, and A lot of those eBay carburetors don't have they don't have what jets they got listed, so I'm gonna have to do some reading. Maybe go over to Rocky Mountain and see what they got. Well, that's where I'm at this morning. Morning, Thursday morning, back out here playing with the carburetors. Take a look at what we got. All right, I took apart the original carbs, the 32 mil McCuneys. I actually got a knockoff from eBay at 34 on order. I just checked out the pilot and the needle and what I got, and yeah, kind of got some notes of what I believe this engine came out of, what it's supposed to have for carburetor setup, and what will be coming is going to have a heavier pilot, leaner main, and so yeah, we'll go from there. I do got a main kit ordered up. I went through my stuff looking for a pilot. All that stuff in dirt bikes is different, but yeah, we'll see what the new carb shows up with. I do have the 22.5 out of this, the original carb from the original engine, which is a 500 free air. The other stuff was pretty rough shape. The carbs that the guy sent me that I got this engine from. But yeah, this sticker here, I was trying to, you know, it's like pretty sure it's an engine sticker for your part number of your engine, and I couldn't get anything pulled up off that number. I could get stuff that was close, but nothing exact. But I believe the engine's either from a 89 Panther or Jag, somewhere in that vintage, late 80s, early 90s. I returned the fan belt. I do got a new fan belt coming. These boots showed up. I'm only going to be using one of them. The gasket and needle and seat showed up, and I could not find a needle with a rubber tip, so I think I'm actually just going to stick those. Not even going to put the gaskets on, just put these carbs, the original free air carbs, in a box with that needle and seat and gaskets. Kind of sit on those for later for possibly a chopper project. They cleaned up really good. Yeah, new boot. It'll work on the fan or intake. I'll keep the other one, or I may just see if it fits on my 440 exciter. I'm going to throw some blank off plugs on the oil injection lines because I deleted on that. And I got the gaskets here. Kind of just need to get the test fit. Tomorrow I'm going to start test fitting the engine in the morning, and then I'll once I figure out what I'm doing, if I'm going to flip this plate over or not, and move forward with the electric start. I'm thinking I might flip that plate upside down and re-drill it, or I might just leave it and be over the old electric start deal. It's 440. It's not that hard to rope over. But yeah, I picked up this little jet kit from Tusk on Rocky Mountain a while back when I did a carburetor swap on my dirt bike, and comes in pretty handy. But yeah, basically waiting on a carburetor to show up and give that motor a few dry runs and test fits, and we'll go from there tomorrow morning. All right, morning. It's Friday morning here. Got the engine in there. I did have to slot that. It'd be the forward right bolt there. Get that to fit in there. The other side was the new hole I drilled. So yeah, I had to do slot that one a little bit there. But yeah, pretty much lined up in there. Still need to stick the primary and the secondary on to throw a straight edge on those. You know, one of those clutch tools, and then throw a belt on there. But for now, I'm going to actually go with getting the fuel pump mounted. There's where the original dual out pump mounted, and the single outlet fuel pump's a little smaller. The style here. So I'm going to make a little plate, adapter plate out of that piece of metal there. Got the intake cleaned up yesterday. And I capped off the oil injection lines. Put a couple of those on there, and then put some of that great stuff on there. I'm going to hold off on putting the intake on, so I got the fuel pump done. The pulse line's right there. I mean, I'm sure I could get to it, but yeah, just gonna get the fuel pump in there, do this bracket, get the fuel pump in there, get these clutches thrown on. Looks like the carburetor it's saying it'll show up Monday, but we'll see. It's the holidays, you never know. Yeah, that's all I got for this morning. Off to work later. All right, Sunday morning, here we are. Made a little plate for the fuel pump. There's the old pump going with the obviously a single outlet for the single carb. I'm just going to use some washers and eliminate those spacers that was originally used with the original pump. Secondary, I kind of gave it a quick cleanup, nothing crazy. Gonna put some anti-seize on the jack shaft. I had one of those get stuck on a jack shaft years ago. It was a nightmare to get off. But yeah, fuel line. Got this stuff off eBay, and it is like extra crappy, man. It's like licorice. They said it's 5/16, but it seems smaller than that, and it's real like flimsy. I thought it was going to be something like this. That's obviously a bigger line. It's 7/16. But yeah, this is not 5/16. It's a little fraction smaller. So ordered some line, and yeah, I got the shaft cleaned up. Gonna put some C5A on there, some anti-seize, and get that fuel pump mounted, and get a line going to the fuel pump. So here I am test fitting the intake on. See where this vacuum pulse line from the fuel pump's going to land next to this intake, and it's like, for some reason those studs are flopped. I don't remember even taking those out, but yep, I'm going to swap those around, get that line hooked up. Got some goopity goop anti-seize on the jack shaft and slide that on the secondary there. Alright, as I was flipping those studs over, the lower ones, flipping them from side to side, it dawned on me what happened. Obviously I got the cylinders mixed up when I was putting the engine together. No big deal. They're the same cylinders, just the studs are arranged differently for the intake. Not a big deal. I gotta switch the nag side studs around still, but yeah, this here is definitely a bigger deal. I'm assuming I'm missing a spacer. I'm going to have to look in the parts catalog. The bolt was already pretty short as it was. It was a couple years ago when I took this apart, so I don't remember. Maybe I misplaced a spacer and a bolt, but that was the bolt that was in the bag with the secondary, and there's no spacer of any sort. That's definitely not going to work, but hard to say. This thing was in an old guy's barn up in the rafters, so you know, maybe a grandkid or his kid or his kid might have did some stuff, or I misplaced some stuff, or Uncle Rico robbed some parts. We don't know. It's been put away for a while, but yeah, I'm gonna get those studs flipped around on the other cylinder. Get the intake on there. So I got my pulse line ran from the crank to the fuel pump. Keep moving forward. Yeah, I'm assuming most people probably know this, but just in case you don't, yeah, I'll put a double up the nuts to break the stud loose there. Sometimes it'll break loose. Sometimes you got to stick some vice grips down on the shank of the stud where there's no threads. Yeah, that's how I put them on too. Just jam the nuts together and back that out, and then I'll just take it over the other hole where the long stud is and thread it in, and then break those nuts loose. But yeah, figured most people know that, but just in case, there you go. All right, so I got those studs switched around. I also I Loctited the ends with blue Loctite where they thread into the cylinder. I don't know if I mentioned that a minute ago or not. But yeah, a belt came in the mail, fan belt. Gonna put that on, I'm thinking next. Before I start doing the shroud. That way that shroud is, I'm pretty sure the metal base goes against the cylinder. The fan shroud here. That's the carb side. There's the top. I'm sure I can still get to the belt. But I kind of like to just do the belt, get it done with. Yeah, I'm going to use this high tack on the paper gaskets. SBT, I've done a couple jet ski engines from them, and they recommend it in their install, and the stuff seems to help out quite a bit. On the exhaust side, I was hesitant on what to use because I thought I might do the electric start, but after hitting that thing with some jumper cables and a battery, it didn't do anything that is, you know, having to buy a relay and this and that and all that other stuff. It's like, it's a 440, it's not hard to rope over. I've had way bigger sleds that were pull start. But yeah, here's the exhaust side. It's going to use some ultra copper on that end with the gaskets. You know, another thing I just picked up on SBT was using, you know, those paper gaskets. A little bit of help. Yeah, disassemble it, you trash them, but I don't plan on taking this apart. It's probably going to go together, and it should run good, I'd imagine. But yeah, I got to get my book on the internet there, on the computer in the house. My phone is just, I don't like reading off my phone. It's too small. I need a big screen to see if I'm missing a spacer on that jack shaft. Pretty sure, well, maybe it's hard to say now looking at the angle here. Maybe that shroud goes between the intake manifold and the plastic, not up against the cylinder. I'm going to look in the parts catalog. I guess I can, I'll just test fit it real quick. Yeah, take a look too, what the heck, on the internet there. We'll see. All right, I'm going to assume with that gap right there, you know, I'm going to swap it around real quick, but I'm pretty much, that's telling me that, you know, it goes the other way. Yeah, see, that fits a lot better that way. That's tight up against there. Those isolators, or I guess you call them an isolator. I stuck them on there, stuck the intake on there without them. It fits just fine. I'm assuming it's an isolator of sort for heat. But yeah, I don't even think I need to look at that on the internet, on the parts catalog. That's pretty much how that goes. But yeah, definitely going to see what I'm missing over here on this secondary. Pretty sure it's the original one, and I'll go look in the basement. Look online first, see what's missing. Go in the basement. Maybe I misplaced something. Anything's possible. I stepped away from this for a while. All right, head inside. Well, yeah, definitely a little embarrassing, but at the same time, pretty funny. I haven't looked at the pictures I posted a while back on a thread I had going on this. I took it apart a couple years ago, but it appears to put the secondary on backwards from the picture of this parts catalog. The newer, I'm not sure to say newer stuff in the 90s, you know, you look at the secondary the way you look at it, and it appears, and I'm going to go dig through my thread, but it appears I put it on backwards, which makes a whole lot of sense of why it's so far off. Yeah, that's messed up. Also, a quick glance shows how that intake's oriented, and that the shroud for the fan air. Anyways, I use a Country Cat. They got a pretty good breakdown, I think, on their, to go back to 1974 on their parts catalog. All right, got the clutch on. That looks way better. Yeah, can't believe I did that, but yep, that happened. It's got good free play. I got the intake on. I used that Permatex, that high tack. The torques I found online were like 11 foot-pounds or 14 foot-pounds. Converts to 132 inch-pounds. yeah, I tightened that intake down just with a 1/4-inch ratchet, and you know, this little ratchet here, and they were tight. And then, you know, once you put that on there, torque wrench, I got, you know, a few turns on them, and not like a full, nothing like, you know, full turns, but at least a 1/2 a turn, maybe 3/4, and before they were torqued. So, you know, it's even something small like that, little hardware, you know, you think you got it tight, it's good to get it in the specs, and you definitely don't want a leaky intake or exhaust or anything leaky on an engine. Yeah, certain stuff, obviously suspension stuff, I don't, you know, go crazy on torques, but engines, yeah, definitely go with the specs. Yeah, it was something off our chat. I don't have the a book for this thing, but yeah, I'm going to head in for dinner and circle back around to getting the primary on and that water pump belt. All right, it's Monday afternoon. This fuel pump kit came in to rebuild that dual outlet pump. Probably going to post that up on Facebook, on one of the vintage forums, and get that sold off. Don't see a need for keeping some of this stuff around. Once I get this up and running, I'll get rid of that. Probably throw that up there. The lower cases, the original engine, good cylinder with the piston. Whichever clutch I'm going to run. Probably going to run this one. It came on it. Probably throw that one up on there for sale. Air box, Y pipe, whatnot. You know, recoup a little money here. Not just a real tight budget. Not really a budget at all, but less stuff sitting on my shelf. So yeah, fan belt came in. I'm going to get after changing the fan belt real quick. Alright, the belt game here. Yeah, not having much luck with belts. I'm actually going to just leave it apart, and I'm going to tomorrow morning run up to the hardware store and see little local hardware stores got a lot of odds and ends. I'm going to see if they maybe have a belt, because this will be the second one I'm returning. Got strike 2. I'm going to move on to doing the exhaust manifold. Well, here's how much snow we got. You know, nothing to ride out any house. No big rush. Yeah, the road out there is, it's dirt. So, you know, there's no big hurry on this, but I'll get it going, get it together. Slowly but surely. Alright, got the exhaust manifold on and torqued down. This one bolt, it would be the one in here. You get at it from the back side. I got at it with that box end wrench. I tried a crow's foot on there on the torque wrench, but you know, sometimes there's just no access. It's the same as the intake. It's 132 inch-pounds. But yeah, you just use a box end wrench, whatever you can get in there, and get it as tight as you can. You know, got a pretty good idea after just torquing them what it feels like. Get a good feel for it. Yeah, next up, get the exhaust in. Probably gonna put a little RTV there on that donut. It seems to fit in there okay-ish. It looks like the tunnel was cut out a little bit down there. I didn't do that. That was already like that. Yeah, it's just how she sits in there. And then I also need to get the primary clutch on. Like I mentioned earlier, try to get a fan belt in a local hardware store, see what they got. I'm still waiting on a carb. The jets came in, which is good. I ordered those the same day as a carb. Those came in today. But yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. I think that's all I got. Get that on. Oh yeah, the dreaded, keep putting this off over here, this carpet job with this glue. And yeah, I need to zip tie up a little zip tie job on that. And also the fuel tank, I got that cleaned up. I do got new fuel line coming. It's pretty wild is this fuel line that's in this tank is like in really good shape. It's actually really flexible still and not brittle as I had assumed. Yeah, maybe they used better material back then. I don't know. So yeah, may be throwing a new fuel line on there. I might be like, hey, run it. Nah, just kidding. I'll put a new fuel line on it. Yeah, that's it, I think, for today. Probably gonna glob this all in a quick video. It's just basically out here, you know, during the week, 30 minutes here, 20 minutes there. I might get an hour in at it. Just kind of get as much done as I can, a little amount of time I got, and then, you know, the whole order and parts fiasco. Yeah, so hopefully that carb gets here soon, because I want to order an air filter. Don't want to be ordering stuff if I don't have the exact measurement, and being a Chinese knockoff McCuney, shouldn't be hard to find an air filter for it. Should be the same as McCuney, but it's more of a, sometimes stuff's misadvertised on those, on eBay. But should be similar to these, just 34 millimeter versus 32. So whatever filter would strap onto those, which would be the other side, which would be that side. Yeah. And, I actually noticed there's a difference between snow filters and dirt filters. I did not know that on one of the filter sites I was on. So yeah, I'm gonna get a snow one. I actually got a dirt one on my exciter. So maybe I'll go out there and check that one out and bring it in here and size it up and order 2 snow ones. Yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, feel free to comment, like, subscribe, you know, the YouTube thing. Hopefully what I'm doing out here, tinkering around, somebody can pick up some tips or whatever, and basically just out here to screwing around on some old junk. Have a good week. Take her easy.